Welcome to Apex Racing TV, welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and welcome to another round of the IMSA Sportscar Series. Adam Bath here with Connery Maddock here this afternoon with Samuli Kumo on the cameras. And Connery, of course, we've had the big one this weekend, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We've only got one split here tonight, so we should have some pretty interesting racing going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just this afternoon, the iRacing 24 Hours of Le Mans is just finished. So of course some people may be a little bit exhausted from doing that and haven't come in to do this IMSA race, but there are still quite a few notable names in here. We have Marcel Fassbender, we have Simone Maria Martino as well, and Kevin Zitter. So this still should be a very, very interesting race, and perhaps a chance for some of the guys with a little bit lower I rating to try and make a name for themselves here.
Yep, of course, iRacing provides plenty of splits of competition, all based on a similar skill set. And yeah, due to the competition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, we haven't got enough for multiple splits. We've just got this one split here today. So everyone that is racing will be on Apex Racing TV. A bit of a cult following, as you were saying, Connery, in the rough C-Spec category. We have got Kevin Zitter back, we've got Mark Masick, who was here last week as well, and Marcel Fassbender, and of course Timo Ascola. Simone Marcheno is back as well, so quite a few names to watch out for there. And yeah, the guys that don't normally get say on TV will be here as well. Indianapolis Motor Speedway then, Connery, we're on the Grand Prix layouts that was used from 2000 through to 2007. You can get it. There's quite a few good overtaking spots here. That down the back straight, and of course the long run through the banking at turn 13 and onto the front straight into turn 1.
Yeah, of course, you spend so much time on the throttle in the back half of the lap here. You pretty much flat out, right from turn 11 all the way down through NASCAR, what would be called NASCAR turn 1 and 2, but you go around them the wrong way around for NASCAR and IndyCar. But yeah, you're on the throttle right from there all the way down until the first corner. So the draft is going to be pretty insane here. It's going to be very, very important, and we may see multiple passes in the same straight here. But don't hold my word. Don't take my word for it.
Well, we've got three classes of action here. If you have never seen the IMSA Sportscar Series before, we've got the Daytona prototypes. There's 7 of them represented here today. We've got the German GT3 category, which consists of the Mercedes GT3 car, the Audi and the BMW, and we have got 7 rough C-Specs, and they get their own class. And just to remind you, we have got 10 of the German GT3s. Well, the drivers at the moment are on their qualifying laps. It's a 8-minute session, but the drivers get 2 flying laps to set a marker. We'll run you through the top 5 in the Daytona prototype. Simone Marcheno is on provisional pole position, half a second faster than Alessandro Dalladone. Jake Robson is in 3rd with Casper de Court in 4th, Martin Blaise in 5th. And of course, mandatory pit stop for these guys as well. Connery, last race meeting, it was all over the place really in terms of pit stops. The 3 classes and the length of the race, it really opens up the strategy.
Yes, it does. It was quite a wide pit window there last race. I wonder if the pit window will be affected here because you're spending so much time on the throttle. So we will have to wait and see, as I don't spot anyone on the... Yep, we're taking over to the race session, so we should go through our grid right about now.
Okay then, let's run you through the starting grid for the race. Simone Marcheno starts on pole position overall and for the Daytona prototypes. Alessandro Dalladone starts in 2nd with Jake Robson 3rd, Casper de Court 4th, Martin Blaise in 5th, Anthony Grant in 6th with Braden Whitaker in 7th place. In the German GT3s, it's Luigi Nespolino on pole position with Thomas Tattari in 2nd, Harold Michenthaler in 3rd with Luca Papa in 4th, Alfonso Apicella in 5th with Kimmo Kihlstrom in 6th, Jason Dockery in 7th with James Wallace 8th, Ronnie Sewell in 9th, and Joey Vergara rounding out your German GT3s. And over in the rough C-Specs, we've got Kevin Zitter with Cohen Klopman in 2nd, Mark Masick in 3rd, Marcel Fassbender 4th, Timo Ascola in 5th, and Wade Hayes in 6th with Chad Betzler in 7th position. Of course, we've got a formation lap to go, and then we'll be getting set for 45 minutes worth of racing here around Indianapolis.
Yes, indeed, and it's going to be a full pace lap here, so we're not starting in the middle of a lap like you see at some tracks. We're going to have to fill quite a bit of time here, Adam, because these guys are going to be rolling around for quite a while.
We can talk about the iRacing 24 Hours of Le Mans that was occurring earlier today. I don't know if you saw any of it, Connery, but yeah, the free classes looked like there were plenty of good racing there today.
Yeah, absolutely. We had spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. But VRS Co-Anderson did win that prototype class with Friction Racing challenging them, but Friction Racing just dropped off the back in the last hour or two and wasn't able to recover. And INEX dominating both of the GT1 and the GT2 categories as well. So it was a good race all in all. Lots of action throughout the whole of the 24 hours, and they had a pretty good attrition rate as well. I didn't see too many cars retiring from that race either. So yeah, it was a pretty good one to watch.
Great to see that as well. All we need now, iRacing, is just some day to night transitions, and then we'll be there. Safety car then leading them round away from the line. Alessandro Dalladoni in second, and yes, Simone Marcheno on the pole position. We'll also fill some time by telling you of all the stuff that's coming up here on Apex Racing TV over the next week. Some pretty big events here. We've got the Club Series coming up later tonight. Get some dinner and then be back with us in 2 hours after this broadcast finishes. Me and Paul Smith, who was covering the 24 Hours of Le Mans, of course, will be here at Mount Panorama Bathurst. And he didn't see the BSRTC event there a few weeks ago. You missed a treat there, and there's going to be 2 20-minute races going on there later. Then this week we have got, of course, the BSRTC. We get ever closer to the end of the season, and this time we will be heading to Monza for 4 more races around there, this time with no first chicane. So it's going to be interesting to see the speed those Kia Optimas go into Curva Grande on lap 1 of the race. Then we go into Saturday, and it's a big one. It is the iRacing Road Pro Series, the opening round of the season. Who is going to qualify to get into the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series? Me, Alex Simpson and Andrew Woodhouse will all be there at Interlagos for the first round of that season. And then, of course, we've got the SRA GT3 Series as well on that weekend. You cover that series as well, Connery. What was the racing there like yesterday?
I wasn't actually commentating on that series. No, it was not me.
Well, you can always guarantee good racing in GT3 series racing, so check that out as well. And yeah, we'll be back here for IMSA on Sunday, and the Club Series as well, with the next race meeting from Oran Park a week today. Well, that's killed some time. And Simone Marcheno and Alessandro Dalladoni on the front row of the grid, and any moment now the safety car will go into the pit lane and we'll be ready to go. Safety car, didn't realise it pulls off this late, but yeah, we're going to get set to go in a second. Here we go then. IMSA Sportscar Series here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Safety cars into the pits and the Daytona prototypes get the green flag, and we are underway. Tell you what, it wasn't a good start by Dalladoni at all. Jake Robson already through into second place. Just the 7 of the Daytona prototypes here in this race today, and Marcheno's got a comfortable lead into the first corner. Let's have a look at the German GT3s. They've got the green flag, and into the first corner is Luigi Nespolino, the pole sitter in that category, that has the lead for now. Second, Thomas Tattari, and Mitch Thaler in third, and the Russ Eastbrechts. It's very close into the first corner there. It's Marcel Fassbender. He's gained 5 positions already. A fantastic start from him. He leads through the first corner with Kevin Zeiter also up a position into second place, and I'm just trying to find the reason why we didn't see the pole sitter leading into that first corner. But anyway, yeah, everyone away cleanly.
Yeah, that Roof C-Spec start was actually very, very interesting. They almost went 3 wide down into turn 1, and I was about to call it out, but then they settled down a little bit. So these guys all just single file right now, just settling down in all of your classes right here. We've still got Marceno leading out the front of your prototype division. He's pulled out a pretty big gap of about 1.1 seconds over Jake Robson there. Jake Robson up 1 place. We also got Dalladoni after that Questionable start there. He didn't quite get going, but Daladone in the draft here. Jake Robson, look at how fast he's closing in. He might have a chance diving down into turn 1, but no, thinks better of it.
Anthony Grant is also battling away here with Martin Blaise, and that looks like a change for position, but Anthony Grant overshoots the first corner a little bit, and it will allow Martin Blaise to go back around the outside of the first chicane. Anthony Grant trying to go around the outside now into the right-hander, and he's able to get the position back,
contact.
but he loses it, and the car spins around Connery.
Yeah, that is just Blaise he's carrying it just a little bit too much speed into the corner for the angle that he was going in at, and he just tagged the back of Anthony Grant there and just spun his car around on the apex of the corner. Luckily he didn't collect any other car, and that damage to that prototype car does not look to be significant, so he'll be able to get going and just carry on.
Braden Whitaker was able to get through, who is almost the same iRating as me, so it's good to see guys at the amateur level getting good airtime here today. Of course, one split's worth of competition. In your German GT3s, it's as you were. They're all in the same positions from the positions they qualified in, so no overtakes there in the early going, and yeah, a ton of overtakes going on in the Rough C-Spec category, and Marcel Fassbender leading them around after lap 1. Harry's getting harassed quite heavily by Kevin Zeiter here. In the Rough C-Spec category, Connery can always rely on it for good racing here, and they're all nose to tail in these opening few laps.
Yes, definitely. Your top 3 cars are all bunched together, and that fourth car in line, that number 7 of Timo Escola, he is not too far behind either. He'll sit in the draft of all 3 of these cars as they come through NASCAR Turn 2, coming down into NASCAR, well, and IndyCar Turn 1, I should say. Coming down the wrong way through the oval track, but yes, Cohen Klopman he's going to get the double draft here, but he's not going to get enough of it down this straight to be able to try and make a move on Kevin Zitter coming down into turn 1 now. It looks like no one's going to make a move just yet. They're just sitting in single file.
Yeah, this is definitely a battle that we're going to have to watch throughout the rest of the race. 45-minute race already underway. Got less than 30 laps or so left of competition, and of course a mandatory pit stop as well. All spreading out relatively big here in the Daytona prototype category. Daladone is still relatively close to the back of Jake Robson, and last time around Robson was just the quicker car by 1/10 of a second. We'll see what it's like now as we head through NASCAR Turn 1 onto the front straight. He'll be picking up a decent tow here, and Robson knows that. Already moving to the inside. You've already made your move, Jake, and now Daladone will go to the outside and should be clear by the time we get to Turn 1. And Connery, I think that's the first time today we've seen the dramatic effect of the slipstream, and it's worked wonders there for Alessandro Daladone up to second place.
Yep, and I think this will be a theme throughout the rest of your race, because we have 3 cars right here with Daladone leading them right now in second place, like rare, and Jake Robson third, and Casper De Moort. We haven't seen much of him. Casper De Court, sorry. We haven't seen much of him just yet, as we see Jake Robson just drift out in the middle of the corner right there. This is a very, very technical section, Adam. It's pretty tough on your drivers to hit every single one of those marks in that sweeping section. But yeah, and Jake just got it a little bit wrong there, and one of the left-hand sweepers just allowed Court to catch back up. So if Court can stay here, stay in the position he's in right now, when they come towards the end of the lap, he can potentially get a draft pass done down the pit straight.
Yeah, especially with the power you've got underneath you in these Daytona prototypes, it's going to be very tough to gain those positions there. We'll see what it's like. It's going to be like then going up through IndyCar Turn 2, or Turn 2 on this Indianapolis oval, and then through Turn 13 or NASCAR/IndyCar Turn 1, and onto the front straight we go. I can inform you that we have had a change of lead in the Rough C-Specs. We'll have a look at that in a moment, because here comes De Court. He's going to go to the outside, and it looks like the position will be changed into Turn 1, but Jake Robson's late on the brakes, and the UK and Ireland driver is going to remain in that third place. But yeah, as Samuli Kumo was just telling us, the Rough C-Spec lead has changed. Kevin Zeiter now leads there. Marcel Fassbender dropping down to second place.
Yeah, these roof cars at the front of your field right here, they have not split up at all. Your top 3 are all within about a second right there. Kevin Zitter, Fassbender and Klopman as they come through NASCAR Turn 1, which is your final corner here at Indianapolis Road Course. No one will be close enough to make a move just yet, but we see some changes for not changing for position. Something's happened to Braden Whitaker there. He's in the pit road.
Yeah, I was just about to say that he had a spin going off the infield section. Oh, Zeiters over the grass, and he rejoins the circuit. There's also, oh no, he nearly hit. He nearly hit Marcel Fassbender, who nearly ended his race, but now he's lost another position. And oh, look who's that! Who's that going into the lead? It could be Cohen Klopman. He's up the inside, and Marcel Fassbender will try and hold on in the number 1 rough C-spec. And Cohen Klopman's going around the outside. He nearly went into the grass and the gravel trap there, but he's able to hold on and go back up the inside of Kevin Zeiter. Brilliant racing here in the rough C-spec category. Kevin Zeiter's not giving up down the back straight, and this is just allowing the cars behind of Timo Escola and Mark Masick to close in as well. Up the inside goes Cohen Klopman into the left-hander at the end of the back straight, and now through the tie and twisty section to end the infield section here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But wow, Connery, that was a fantastic battle between those guys.
Absolutely fantastic, but if these guys just keep battling, we may see the likes of Timo Escola and Mark Masick get involved in this fight for the podium positions in your roof C-spec class. This is absolutely amazing racing. I hope it continues for the next 37 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh yeah, just finish off what we were saying about Braden Whitaker. He had, we've had a change for the lead in the German GT3s. Luigi Nespolino might be in a bit of trouble here. He's lost 2 positions. I don't know if the car's limping around, I think, Connery. I don't know whether he's got a problem. We might have to get this up on a replay. But whilst Luigi Nespolino was leading, it's all gone wrong for him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at what happened here, because coming down into turn 1, it all looks fine. But I'm just going to listen in to try and see what happened to maybe that engine went, but yeah, I just can't find what happened currently. This is interesting.
He stops on the circuit. I don't know whether he's had a hardware problem with his wheel or pedals, but yes, something's gone horribly wrong there for Luigi Nespolino, the man who qualified on pole. Casper de Court and Jake Robson, by the way, are having a great battle. They're about to come up to where Nespolino is on the track. And Casper de Court has now overtaken Robson as well. So Robson, who ended the first lap in 2nd place, has now dropped outside the podium positions, with de Court going up into 3rd place. Nespolino still on the track, by the way.
Yeah, but he's well off the racing line into the runoff there, so that shouldn't be a problem for your drivers. There's some of your prototypes now coming around to lap Ronnie Sewell there. Ronnie Sewell has had his own problems during this race. He's slow as well. There's Chad Belzer getting out of the way of your Daytona prototypes as well. So they're starting to hit some lap traffic here, your Daytona prototype fields, but they haven't caught up to the bulk of it yet.
Yeah, the leaders of the rough C-spec category are just coming across the start-finish line now, so they've still got a bit of time before the Daytona prototypes get there. Marciano's just coming across the line to start lap 8 of the race, so he will be with them in just a few laps, I think. But yeah, and still they're inseparable in those rough C-spec category. Let's check in on the German GT3s, and there might not be too much action going in there apart from what happened to Nespolino, who is now back in the pits. But Thomas Tattari has got a few tenths of a second lead, as we might have to go back to the Daytona prototypes, I'm afraid, because Casper de Court and Jake Robson were changing positions going into turn 1 on the circuit. Robson's not lying down yet. He wants to try and get this podium position back.
Yes, this is an absolutely fantastic fight for your 3rd place, and he dives it down the inside. Jake Robson to the inside of the long left-hander. Will he be able to hold it? He does. What a move.
That was fantastic from both of them. Casper de Court, he turned in. I thought it was going to be contact, but he pulled out at the last minute and saw Jake Robson coming at a huge rate of knots. And Robson takes that podium position back. Fantastic between these two in the Daytona prototypes, battling here over the final spot in the podium, as Dalladone is already a good almost 6 seconds up the road from these guys. However, he in turn is 6 seconds behind Marciano as well. So it's not too much action going on for the lead, but for the final spot on the podium, great racing here. Kimo Kihlstrom has had an issue in the German GT3s. He was in 11th position in his Audi, bright green Audi there, but he might have had an issue down at turn 1. Yeah, he went for a trip through the gravel, and at the time he was in 11th place, but now he's down a few positions.
Yep, and we see Casper de Court. He is getting the position back on Jake Robson on that pit straight, so you do not want to be in front coming onto that pit straight, especially coming towards the end of the lap. if the car behind can get you before the start-finish line, they will have the position over you as they navigate the roof C-Spec car of Wade Hayes in that number 16. This is an absolutely fantastic battle in your prototype field. Will Jake Robson try and dive it down the inside of the long left-hander here yet again? No, but that Casper de Court does drift out in the middle of the corner. He'll get a later apex. That's a double apex corner actually, so that second one is much later than the first. Jake Robson sitting in the draft, coming down this back straight as we see some fighting for your lead of the German GT3 cars. That is Tatari and Harold Michenthaler, Adam.
Yeah, they were exchanging positions there going into the first corner. Michenthaler was trying to get it done rounding outside, but Thomas Tatari said no to that. And yeah, you can't take your eyes off a whole load of battles here. This Indianapolis Motor Speedway providing a whole load of action here in the early stages here in the IMSA Sports Car Series. Tatari going through this long 180-degree right-hander and now through onto the back straight. No corner names here in Indianapolis, but some pretty famous corners where we've had some huge crashes in the past in the Formula One World Championship, of course. Ralf Schumacher having a huge incident in the final corner. And here's Williams back in 2004, good 12 years ago now. Oh, it's off in the background is Luca Papa in his car, teammate to Thomas Tatari. Lost the car, lost the rear, I think, going into the left hand at the end of the straight. Put two wheels into the grass, Connery.
Yep, and it looks like he just hooked them on the curb there as well, and that just unsettled the car. And as soon as he tried to turn in for the corner, the car was not having any of it, and the ends just swapped round.
Jake Robson and Casper de Court at it again, and de Court's off. De Court was off in the corner where Jake Robson put on the move earlier. They were lapping
contact ahead of him with the Roof C-Spec car and the two Roof C-Spec cars. That's Timo Escola in trouble in the Arco barrier there. That was contact with Mark Massig.
And they were just lapping those guys at the time, Connery. So Timo Escola was just getting lapped by Jake Robson. I don't know if we've got a replay of this, but yeah, going onto the back straight, Mark Massig fancied an opportunity, and it doesn't take much to send these rough C-Specs around, and that's what happened there. Jason Dockery and James Wallace having a battle. They're side by side into the first corner. The action continues here at Indianapolis. The Audi going around the outside, and that is James Wallace past Jason Dockery, and they will have Kimo Kihlstrom to join them in a moment. Well, he has joined the back now of James Dockery. But yeah, plenty of action here. Got the first pit stop for the Daytona prototypes. Anthony Grant is into the pit lane. Was in 5th place at the time. Martin Blaise has just gone through. But yeah, he's the first to blink.
Yeah, that's a very, very early stop there from Anthony Grant. Not sure if he had any damage or he's just trying something different to try and get himself up there. But currently, Marceno has an absolutely dominant lead in that prototype division. But he is coming up on lap traffic. He has to be very, very careful here, negotiating these German GT3 cars. Daldoni is about 9 seconds behind that time by. Marceno is absolutely dominating this field. We've also still got Jake Robson and Casper de Court. De Court has dropped a couple of seconds off Robson after having a little bit of an issue. And we've also got Martin Blaise and Anthony Grant, the only pitter of the prototype field.
Yeah, 8 seconds for Anthony Grant, so it looks like a pretty normal stop. You can see they've just lapped those rough C-Specs. And they are still all together in Marcel Fassbender, Cohen Klotman and Kevin Zeiter. Kimo Kihlstrom has just got by Jason Dockery, sorry. So that's the Audi through there, and the Mercedes down another position. Dockery 12th overall, 7th in class. I think the battle at the moment that we need to be looking at continues. Yeah, it is the rough C-Spec category. Everyone else starting to spread out just a little bit. And it won't be too long before the pit stops start to happen here. We've got just under half an hour left of racing. Kevin Zeiter just making a small mistake there going through the right-hander. Loses a few tenths of a second to Cohen Klotman in front. Lap times last time around, Marcel Fassbender 1:28.7, 1:28.2 for Cohen Klotman. So he is lapping quicker than Fassbender in front of him. And 1:28.3 for Kevin Zeiter. So Fassbender, even though he's leading the rough C-Specs, he was the slowest out of the top 3 there.
Yes, indeed. But Zitter, I believe he put it on pole for these Roost C-Specs. Yes, as we see some change position. Notice side-by-side racing in the Indian GT3 Series from Luca Papa in that number 11, just getting past Alfonso Apicella in that number 17 car. That was a pretty easy pass for Papa after having issues earlier on in the race.
Yeah, he's working his way back through the field now. I think he's just restored the position he was in before he had the spin. Yeah, so he's back up to third in class. He is quite away from his teammate Thomas Tattari and class leader Harold Mickenthaler. And those two are pretty close as well. Only just a few tenths of a second between those two. See if Thomas Tattari can line up an overtake here, going through the left-hander. We're going to go off the infield section and onto the oval. See if a position change could be on here. We'll see what the slipstream's like. Thomas Tattari, of course, in a BMW, so it's not the fastest car in a straight line, and that might hinder him here, Connery. Even though he's got the slipstream, that Mercedes is most undoubtedly going to be quicker.
Yep, absolutely. So Tattari has to make the most of this draft because he knows he doesn't have the straight line speed advantage in that BMW. Of course, the balance of power did change this last build for these GT3 cars, so he might not have as much of a deficit as he would have last season. But he does hang with him here, but not able to make that pass on the straight.
Yeah, I'll have to try and get up as close as he can to the back of that Mercedes in the corners, and then try and get the move done going onto the banking. So that is your battle for the lead in the German GT3. He's changed of position going on between Mark Massig. Mark Massig had just overtaken one car, I think.
Massig had a spin just in the latter half of your lap there. Just a single self-spin coming off the corner. Just broke traction, spun the car around. That allowed Wade Hayes to get back through on him.
Mark Massig, who we saw in action a few weeks ago, back here again at Indianapolis. And yeah, having a momentary problem there. Drops down to 5th place now in the Roost C-Specs. That is 18th place overall, just getting elapsed there by the German GT3 car of Ronnie Sewell. We've only got 2 cars in the pits. Luigi Nespolino, shock there, was leading the German GT3 category. Braden Whittaker also in the pits, and Joey Vergara I don't think took the start. So we've still got a whole load of cars running here. There's Anthony Grant just putting a lap there on Ronnie Sewell. Anthony Grant, of course, the only Daytona prototype to have made a pit stop so far.
We still got very, very close fighting for second in your Roost C-Spec class. These top 3 drivers in Roost C-Specs, they have been stuck together all race. Marcel Fassbender has been able to pull a little bit of a gap on Cohen Klopman though, but these guys aren't spreading out at all. Let's see if the pit stops do that for them, but I hope for the sake of the keeping the great racing that we have here, they will also be close coming out of the pits as well.
Yeah, last week in the IMSA Sportscar Series, the pit stops did spread things out quite a bit, but we hope that doesn't happen here. And yeah, Kevin Zeiter and Cohen Klopman very close together going onto the banking. And Zeiter will definitely pick up the slipstream here going through turn 13 and onto the front straight. See if a move can happen here. Goes out wide. Oh, close to the wall there. And I don't know whether that was just the understeer from the car in front, Connery, but yeah, he was very close to that wall on the exit.
That seemed like a very similar to an IndyCar type incident, which is quite fitting for this track, but since it's the stage for the Indy 500, it looks like he just got into a little bit of the dirty air of Cohen Klopman there, and you wouldn't have thought dirty air would affect these cars too much, but it looked like it did right there, coming through that fast right-hander. Maybe the speed was high enough so that the front end of that car of Zitter just didn't want to bite into the ground, and he drifted up into the wall.
But he was close enough to the wall to make some sparks, we've just heard, so he might have picked up a bit of damage. For me, anyway, it looks like he's got a little bit of left front damage to the front of his roof there. Has Kevin Zeiter, and he's lost some ground now to Cohen Klopman, who's pulled away a bit. So I don't know whether the damage might be affecting his speed somewhat. But at the moment, it continues to be Marcel Fassbender leading your Roost C-Spec category with Cohen Klopman not too far behind. The gap seems to be going backwards and forwards between those two. And yeah, as Connery was saying just a moment ago, we hope this battle can continue into the pit stops and after the pit stops as well. It won't be long before Thomas Tattari is lapped by Simone Marcheno. He's just heading down the back straight now with Tatari negotiating the second half of the infield section. And he's still very close to Harold Mickenthaler. Lap times last time around for those two at the front of your German GT3s. A 125.3 for Harold with a 125.8 for Thomas Tatari. But the BMW isn't allowing the Mercedes to break away just yet. Marcheno now going through the second part of the oval, and he's now got 3 cars in front of him to try and negotiate. He's got Mark Masick in that Russ C-Spec category as well.
Yep, and Tartini's just going to pick up a little bit of the draft from that C-Spec car. You can use the other classes to gain a little bit of advantage when it comes to staying in the draft there. We have Ronnie Sewell. He has come down pit road. As you see, Tartini, he closes up massively under the brakes there. I'm not exactly sure what happened to Harold Mickenthaler there, but Mickenthaler was very, very slow going into turn 1, and that just allowed Tartini to go deep on the brakes and close up that gap.
Very close there, and now you've got to play the traffic game here. Tatari has got the race leader in Marcheno behind him. He moves out of the way sensibly and allows the race leader through, and now he'll be hoping that Harold Mickenthaler gets held up as well, so he can close round to the back of him, because he's lost a bit of time whilst the leader's been lapping these two. Going down the back straight. It should be very easy pickings for Marcheno. Yeah, up the inside, and now Tatari will be trying to latch onto the back of that Mercedes again.
Yeah, it looks like Tartini lost out a lot more than Mickenthaler did there, because the prototype car managed to get that pass done pretty much on the straight there. Didn't hinder that GT3 car too much as they come up on the roof C-Spec car of Wade Hayes there. Wade Hayes, he's actually going to dive down pit road.
Wade Hayes then, if he's going into the pits, that's going to be the first of the rough C-Specs in today. No other rough has made a visit to the pits. He's going to be the first, and we'll get to see what his pit stop time is like. For the Daytona prototypes, the only car in so far for them, Anthony Grant, he did an 8.1 second stop, and we'll see what Wade Hayes is like now. And in he goes. Ronnie Sewell was in earlier in the German GT3s. He did a 22.8 second stop. That might be had to repair some damage or maybe even serve a penalty as well. Wade Hayes away in 8.4 seconds, so a quick stop for him, and he is on his way.
Yep, and now we'll have to wonder, when are your leaders going to come in? When will Marceno blink? When will Mickenthaler blink? When will Fassbender blink? And we have another GT3 car in the pits there. That is James Wallace in the Audi. He's going to come down pit road for his one and only required stop, just to top off that thing with fuel. He's not going to take tyres on this stop. A normal full stint for a GT3 car is about an hour. We're not even racing that long here, so he needs to come in, top off with fuel, and then get out again.
Yeah, James Wallace in the pit stop now, in the pit lane. Relatively long stop here, 12 seconds. Of course, you've got to change the tyres, 14 seconds, or maybe it is, yeah, just to pass and go. 15.1 seconds for him, and he is on his way. Running on his own at the time, but yeah, he gets going 7th place in the German GT3 category, 16th place overall, and is going to rejoin the circuit just after being lapped again by Marcheno, and just in front of the German GT3 leaders in Harold Mickenthaler and Thomas Tatari. See if he gets out of the way of those guys, because of course they are running quicker and are on the fresher tyres if he has changed them. Up the inside goes Harold Mickenthaler and puts a lap there on James Wallace. Thomas Tatari should follow him through momentarily, and those two still contesting that lead battle.
No, Tatari's going to get held up just a little bit here by his fellow class member right there. But yeah, there's Wallace. He's going to be early on the brakes and just let him through. But there's a Daytona prototype. That's Daladone. He has to go out wide to try and avoid James Wallace there. So that impeded him a little bit. Yeah,
it did that. Alessandro Daladone in second place in the course in the Daytona prototypes. 11 seconds behind Marcheno and a good 10 seconds ahead, as Jason Dockery is coming into the pits as well for the German GT3. So the guys outside the lead battle are making their pit stops now. See if they can undercut anyone at all. Pitting earlier, getting the fresher rubber and putting in some quick lap times and getting ahead. See if that works there. Dockery is away. It's going to be away momentarily anyway. little bit of a long stop here. 26, 27 seconds. Could this be a penalty?
He might have actually been accidentally left the tire request in, so it looked like he might have taken tires here. And in these GT3 cars, you cannot do fuel and tires at the same time. They have to come one after the other. And since this is such a short race, you don't actually take tires here. So that is a mistake from Jason Dockery.
Okay, 44 seconds for him. Kimmo Kihlstrom, the next German GT3 car to go into the pits. Order's looking pretty scrambled at the moment because the rough C-specs have overtaken most of the German GT3 cars that have come into the pits at the moment. So we'll try and establish a running order for you once the roughs themselves come into the pits. But Kihlstrom now into the box. And our race leader's in the Daytona prototypes. Let's go to him instead, actually, because that was a key moment in the race. 11 seconds for Marcheno. So he should be able to take the pit stop and rejoin whilst losing the lead, but he should be able to get, as long as there's no pit stop dramas, Connery, he should be able to get on his way, and once Dalladone's come into the pits, he should be able to retake that lead.
Yeah, it looks like the rest of your prototype field are going to go and stay out one more lap, so Marceno is the first one to blink. He has to back up a little bit. That'll lost him a bit of time, but I feel that the gap is large enough for him to make a few mistakes here, but obviously not any major ones, and now he's going to pull out the pits. That was a 9.7 second stop there for Marceno. Is there any traffic coming? There's Chad Belzer in that Roof C-Spec car. He's just going to file in behind right here, so Marceno has a little bit of traffic to deal with here in Luca Papa, but nothing severe.
The other two cars in the pits, as well as Kimmo Kihlstrom, were Alfonso Apicella and Martin Blaise, who has just come into the pits as well. So if you one other Daytona prototype coming in here is Marcheno laps the traffic of Luca Papa. Say what though, Connery, battle for third and fourth is on, and it's because Jake Robson has lost the position to Casper de Court. Don't know what was happening there, but de Court is now back through. What will happen to Jake Robson, because he was in ahead of him at the start of the lap. It was an up the inside move into turn one, so that's what happened there, and the battle's going to go to the pits, and this is what we always like to see. Dalladone is pitted as well, so the leader for the time being has come into the pits, and now it's going to be up to the pit crews to see who's going to come out in front between de Court and Robson.
Yes, de Court has the advantage of being into pit road first, but Jake Robson, if he can get a good stop here, he can perhaps jump de Court in the pit stops. Robson was more aggressive counting down pit entry. He only just got it slowed down to the pit road speed limit right on the line. So a very, very good pit road entry from Jake Robson. Here come their pit stalls.
And the leaders of the German GT3s are in as well. Dalladone gets away just as these two are
de Court
stopping.
misses his pit stall. He has to back up. De Court misses his pit stall. So this gives the advantage to Jake Robson.
Unbelievable there. Yeah, Robson's away. And he's going to slot in between the two German GT3 cars as they come out their pit stall, and that is a bit of time lost there for Casper de Court, and he's going to have to work it all again to try and get that third place back. He just got it before the pit stops began there, and now Jake Robson, he's back in third place.
Yes, and we're just getting is that stop was 1 second slower for Casper de Court, and you also have to remember that the timer only starts when the pit crew actually goes to work, so that was more like 2 or 3 seconds that he wasted there just by missing his pit box, and he had to stick it in reverse and get it back in.
Oh yeah, Jake Robson 8.1 seconds, 11 seconds for Casper de Court, and that has hampered him massively there into the final 15 minutes of the race as Jake Robson now laps the German GT3 cars, and so does Casper de Court. And we've had all of the Daytona prototypes in now to serve their pit stops. Luca Papa is the only German GT3 car yet to make a pit stop. Of course, he had a loss time earlier on when he spun it at the end of the back straight, but his Mercedes is now coming down the pit lane, and he will relinquish the lead most likely to Harold Mickenteller.
Yeah, Mickenteller's just coming through the final corner right here. He's just going to go and put a lap on Jason Dockery there, his fellow class member. There we go, Harold Mickenteller, he's going to inherit the lead. He's also going to make a move on the Roof C-Spec there that just left the entry to the turn 1 open there.
Rough C-Specs, though, the action is yet to come in the pit lane for those guys. Marcel Fassbender, Cohen Klopman and Kevin Zeiter have yet to make their pit stop. Luca Papa away, by the way, in 12.8 seconds. And he should come out of the pit lane in relatively clear air. He's just got a Rough C-Spec ahead of him. He is in third place overall, the position he was in third place in class, the position he was in before the pit stop cycle began. Well, now, Connor, we were just waiting on the Rough C-Specs, and the top three still yet to make their stop.
Yep, and the top two cars there, Fassbender and Klopman, they are still pretty close together. We just saw Klopman just have a little bit of an inside front lockup coming down into turn one. That's not the sort of mistake he'll be wanting while he's trying to catch this leader right here. But we saw in the last race that the C-Specs can go a little bit longer than the rest of your classes on the fuel here. So these guys will be trying to stretch out as far as they can and then take less fuel in the pit stop to try and get to the end of the race. Maybe Klopman here is in the draft coming down the front straight. Maybe he's just lifting off a bit and trying to save fuel. That will allow him to put less fuel in the pit stop and try and get the jump in the stop.
Fassbender still setting pretty good lap times considering we're 22 laps into the race. Fassbender last time around 1:27.992, which is only a tenth of a second off of his personal best throughout the entire race. So you can see that the drivers are still on it, even though we are a good 2/3 of the way through the race today. Cohen Klopman taking an awful lot of curb there through the final part of the infield section. I thought it might have triggered a slowdown penalty, but it doesn't look like it has, and those two continue on their way for the time being as Fassbender's in. We're not going to have both of them in, so it's going to be interesting to see how this strategy works out for both of them. Cohen Klopman comes through and takes the lead. Is Kevin Zeiter coming into the pits as well? He is as well. So the two of the top three are into the pits, and now it's going to be interesting to see what the pit stop time is like for Marcel Fassbender.
Yep, and this comes back to what I said. Cohen Klopman may be able to have seen that just a little bit of extra fuel to try and stretch it another lap. We'll have to see what happens here. Marcel Fassbender needs a very, very good stop, and he needs a very, very good outlap here. It's going to be a bit of a struggle on the outlap since, again, these C-Specs do not take tyres. He'll be running with a heavier fuel load, while Klopman will not on his, what we suspect would be an in-lap right now. So this will be very, very interesting come when Klopman comes into the pits.
Fassbender away in 11.4 seconds. Kevin Zeiter 11.1. And yeah, Michael Schumacher, the great Michael Schumacher, was always brilliant at doing this kind of strategy. One cut, the car in front comes in and then set a blistering lap time and then emerge in front of your opponent. We'll be able to see if Cohen Klopman does it this time around. He's just heading through the second half of the oval, and look who he's got behind him. The race leader overall, Simone Maria Marcheno. Always up the inside. That might hamper Klopman just a bit, having to get out of the way of the Daytona prototype leader. Of course, he didn't want to do it because, of course, he'd lose some time. Going through the right-hander, and Cohen Klopman stays out.
Interesting. I don't know what he's been doing with the fuel saving in that car, but he's worked some miracles right there. He's going to go out another lap here. Maybe he's going to stretch it one too far, and yeah. So this is what we suspected is in lap. We did say that we suspected his last one was in lap, but no, he's managed to stretch that fuel one more lap.
Well, he's not alone. Mark Massig is continuing to go around as well. But yeah, he'll surely pit in a moment, as we have got... it wasn't a fast lap for Cohen Klopman at all. Last time around he did a 1:29.5. We'll be able to see what Klopman's outlap is in a moment. But Mark Massig comes into the pits. So Cohen Klopman, you're on your own really in terms of this strategy. And at the rate it's going... it might not be working out at all as the German GT3s pass Kevin Zeiter, so nothing to worry about too much there. But where is Cohen Klopman now? He's heading down the back straight. I agree with you, Connor. I think this might be one too many. Pit lane time for the Rough C-Specs is a good 45 seconds. And surely it's going to have to be this lap. Here he goes. And yeah, the pit lane beckons. We'll see if he goes into it this time.
Yeah, as he comes through NASCAR turn 2 right there, title line than the NASCARs and the IndyCars would take. And yep, he's going to come down into pit road this time by. Now, let's see where Marcel Fassbender is. He is just on the end of the back straight right there. So this is going to be pretty close, I think, but I think Klopman lost too much time on his in-laps there.
We'll have to see then. Down the front straight he goes in the pit lane. Cohen, Klopman, German GT3 cars getting by. And where is Fassbender now? He's just heading out of the infield section. He's going through NASCAR IndyCar Turn 2. And Cohen Klopman has just made it into his pit box now. Which is relatively close to the end of the pit lane. But yeah, I think it's going to be Marcel Fassbender that's going to get the lead back. Cohen Klopman's away. It is a relatively good stop. 10.1 seconds. He's pretty good in these rough C-specs. Marcel Fassbender is going by the exit, the pit lane now. And Klopman hasn't crossed the pit lane line yet. He just has now. And he will emerge in second place. But tell you what though, Connery, in front of these guys, we've got a whole load of traffic here. We've got the Daytona prototypes. We've got the German GT3s as well.
Yeah, and I don't think these will pose much of an issue to your C-spec cars since they are the slower class. But yeah, Cohen Klopman tried to make that longer first stint work, but he lost too much time on his in-laps, and I think that was because of the Daytona prototype that he had to let through. I think if he didn't have to let that prototype through, he might have gotten just in front of Fassbender, or just made it too wide down into turn 2, which would be into turn 1, sorry, which would have been very, very exciting indeed. Now, Klopman, he still has a chance here. He still has a chance at the race win. He's not too far behind. He's probably still in the tail end of that draft. So it's not over yet.
Well, the pit stop's a full finish, so we'll take you through the top 5 of all of your classes. Marcheno leads there, as you were, 11 seconds now in front of Alessandro Dalladone. Jake Robson is in third, a good second or so ahead of Casper de Court, so we won't rule that battle out of re-emerging in the final 6 laps of the race. Anthony Grant is in 5th with Martin Blaise in 6th. German GT3s, Harold McIntyre continues to lead, Thomas Tattari 2nd, Luca Papa in 3rd place, Alfonso Apicella 4th, and James Wallace rounds out your top 5 in that category. And in the rough C-specs, it is Marcel Fassbender still leading ahead of Cohen Klopman, with Kevin Zeiter in 3rd, Wade Hayes in 4th, and Timo Iskola rounding out your top 5 in that category. We've just got under 7 minutes to go here. And the battle, yeah, continues to rage in this rough C-spec category. Marcel Fassbender last time around 128.9, sliding the car there. So is Cohen Klopman. Both of these guys desperate to get on the back and get a win here in the rough C-spec category in the strength of field race here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Apex Racing TV. As I'm back here with Connery Maddock here, bringing you the closing stages of action in what's been an intriguing race. It always is here in the IMSA Sportscar Series. And we've got battles in all 3 classes to look at.
Speaking of battles though, I've just seen Martin Blaise just on the back of Anthony Grant here. This is for your bottom end of the prototype division right here. I've just seen that gap closing up just a little bit. They said that are almost identical lap times last time by, but Blaise, he may have a little bit of a chance here on Anthony Grant. He is relatively far back, but he'll be picking up the tail end of that draft as we look back to the C-specs. The Klopman, again, he pushes a little bit wide in that final corner. It doesn't look like he's able to carry all of the momentum through that corner.
We'll see what the lap times are like. That was Klopman's first lap since leaving the pits. 128.4 for him. Fassbender 128.6, so still 0.2 of a second slower. Continues our race, he might be able to get to him by the time the race is over. But yeah, the battle continues between those two. And yeah, Martin Blaise and Anthony Grant. Lap times last time around for those two, 122.2 for both. And looks like Blaise has had a pretty good lap this time as we head onto the back straight. He's keeping Anthony Grant in sight, and we saw earlier when Dalladone was able to get past Robson. That slipstream on the front straight, Connery, it is pretty good in these Daytona prototypes.
Indeed it is, and Blaise just closed up on the brakes into the left-hander there in this very sweeping technical section in the coming towards the latter part of the lap here. They're going to come out of one of the penultimate corner. Actually, yeah, they're coming through the penultimate corner right now. That is NASCAR turn and IndyCar turn 2. Blaise will have the draft here. He looks closer than he was last time. We'll have to see what the gap is coming across the line. Here comes the line right now, so let's see what the times were. Yep, it looks like, yes, he closed up that gap by about half a second, Blaise did.
121.4 for him, 121.9 for Anthony Grant. So Grant will have to try and hold in here for the final 4 minutes of the race for the Daytona prototypes. That's about 4 laps, less than 4 laps for those now. And change between Alfonso Apicella and Luca Papa. Papa was in third place. He had that third place again. Please don't tell me he made the same mistake again going into that corner. Looks like he's picked up some damage, Connery.
Yeah, but it looks like it's some damage to the right-hand side of the front end of that car. We'll have to go and see perhaps where that happened. I don't think it was on that lap, so he must have picked it up on the previous or the lap before that. So some damage to that GT3 car, Lucas Papa, and he is down onto pit road. He might have a meatball flag.
Yeah, I was just looking back. He was on the previous lap, and he was just coming out of the right-hander onto the back straight, loses control of the Mercedes, and slams into the Armco barrier. As you can see it, yeah, we saw it at the time, or we saw it on the cameras now. And yeah, Luca Papa, his teammate Luigi Nespolino, had issues earlier on, and he's now come into the pits as well. So not a good race for those two.
Nope, not at all, and that promotes your GT3 drivers up a couple of positions. James Wallace managed to gain a position, so did Kimo Kihlstrom. And yeah, so Kihlstrom didn't have a very good early part of this race, but he has just picked up a couple of positions from people having a few problems. We're just going to look back towards that Roof C-Spec fight as well, as we see actually a change for the position between Massing and Escola there. Sorry, that was Hayes and Escola. Yeah, Hayes and Escola. So they're very, very close on track.
Yeah, this is close. This is for 4th and 5th in your C-Spec category. Of course, we've still got the battle between the Daytona prototypes. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But who have they got in front of them? That is Chad Betzler. He's behind these guys, but he is in front of them on the track for the moment. So you might have to get out of the way here, as we've got just over 2 minutes of racing to go. Martin Blaise has dropped back a bit now off Anthony Grant, so it looks like that battle settled down. Marcel Fassbender and Cohen Klopman having to get laps again by Simone Marcheno, who is on his way to starting the final lap of the race. Klopman not giving up though. Last time around he was lapping the same times as Fassbender. Might have to hope that Fassbender makes a mistake on what will be the final lap of the race. Klopman not giving up over 29 laps of competition. These two have been nose to tail for a good 45 minutes, and that's great to see.
Yeah, we just saw Cohen Klopman take a massive amount of curve there coming through the right-hand kink. He's not getting any slowdown penalties for it, so we have to assume that it is actually legal to do that. He will now have the tow from Marcel Fassbender as we enter the closing stages of this race. Can Cohen Klopman in that Team Bushfink racing car catch and pass Marcel Fassbender in the late stages of this race? We will have to wait and see.
Well, this is the final lap of the race. Marcheno has just crossed the line, and yeah, we've got less than a minute to go on the clock, so yeah, this will be the final lap of the race. Klopman, he is close. He laps half a second quicker than Marcel Fassbender last time around. If he can carry that speed into this final lap of the race, he might stand a chance of taking that lead away, but Fassbender will do the utmost he can to stop that rough C-Spec from getting through. Simone Marcheno heading down the back straight on his way to a certain victory. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but Cohen Klopman, it's going to be a tough ask, I think, in these closing stages of the lap. I think he's just a bit too far behind to throw the car up the inside. Change for third place. Casper de Court has got through past Jake Robson. I don't know what's happened.
Robson self-spun.
Oh, he spun on the early stages of the final lap and has thrown away a third place. But Simone Marcheno, he hasn't thrown away anything. 21-second lead. Through the final corner he goes, and he takes the win in the IMSA Sportscar Series here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Alessandro Dalladone is on his way through to second place, but Jake Robson, he's a bit close to Casper de Court, but I don't think he's going to get by him by the checkered flag. And yes, spun the car, Connery.
Absolute tragedy there for Jake Robson in the final lap of the race. That is exactly when you don't want something like that to happen. In your Roof C-Spec class, though, Fassbender and Klopman. Fassbender beat him to the line that time by, I believe it is the final lap for these guys. They're still racing, it looks like.
Yeah, and I don't think they've been classed as finishers yet, so it looks like these roughs have got a final lap to get things done here. I thought that because they've been laps and the checkered flag would have been out for them. But yeah, oh no, Timo, I think surely it's over for these guys.
No, yeah, my timing scoring doesn't say they finished, so these guys are still racing. This is the final lap for these Roof C-Specs.
This is unbelievable then. So Marciano so far is the only guy to have crossed the line. Into the left-hander. Marcel Fassbender still in the lead, but Cohen Klotman giving it his all here. Through the left-hander and onto the front straight we go. Oh, so close there to losing the rear of the car, Cohen Klotman. But it looks like Marcel Fassbender will take the victory in the rough C-Specs. And I don't even know if Marciano took the checkered flag, actually.
That must have been very, very close to the time running out and him crossing the line last time
Yes,
by.
so Marciano takes the victory now. He's taken the flag. Oh, I called it a lap early. But Alessandro Dalladone takes second place. Marcel Fassbender has taken the win for the rough C-Spec category. Yeah, he must have crossed the line with just a few seconds left on the clock. I know that if iRacing give it a few seconds of leeway, but yeah, Casper de Kort takes third place, the podium ahead of Jake Robson, who just lost it there in the end. And we've had a change of leads for the German GT3s on the final lap of the race. Thomas Attari has taken the lead as I think Micatella's, he's out of fuel, and I think it's caught some of these drivers out, I think, because we've had that extra lap.
These GT3s are still racing. They haven't crossed the finish line yet to take the checkered flag. Drama in the final stages of this race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The extra lap caught some of these GT3 drivers out.
Well, I thought Micatella was out of fuel, but he might have thought he took the checkered flag, I don't know. But Thomas Attari is going to come through and take the German GT3 victory. Or is he? He's out of fuel.
He's out of fuel as well. Oh my god, this is a coast to the line, battling for coasting to the line. Michelthal has the momentum. This is absolutely ridiculous here. But I think Tatari will take the GT3 win. That is absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, it caught a few people out. It caught us out in the commentary box, and it caught Thomas Attari and Harold Michelthal out there. They just had enough fuel to scrape across the line, and Attari, in a last lap change of position, takes the German GT3 win. Wow, what a finish there. And that is what happens when you cut it fine. Fine margins being shown right here in the IMSA Sports Car Series. Well, let's run you through the finishing order then. Simone Marciano takes the win, and yeah, the clock must have had about 1 second left when he crossed the line, and yeah, he did it in a time of 46 minutes and 22 seconds. 22 seconds was the gap between him and Alessandro Dalladone, the front row of the grid staying in their same positions. Casper de Kort's getting past Jake Robson with 2 laps to go. Robson losing control of the car in the opening sector of the penultimate lap, with Anthony Grant in 5th and Martin Blaise only half a second apart at the checkered flag. Thomas Attari takes the win then in a crazy end to the German GT3 category, spluttering across the line ahead of Harold Michelthal. Alfonso Apicella takes 3rd place, with James Wallace 4th, Kimo Kihlstrom in 5th, and Jason Dockery in 6th. And Marcel Fassbender beating Cohen Klotman to the end. Very close between those two. Kevin Zeiter dropping back towards the end in 3rd. Luca Papa and Ronnie Sewell, the 2 German GT3 cars there in between the rough C-Specs, those having issues late on. Timo Escola in 4th for the rough C-Specs, Wade Hayes in 5th, Mark Masick in 6th, and then Chad Betzler, the last running car, across the line in 7th for the rough C-Specs. Luigi Nespolino, Braden Whittaker had issues during the race, and Joey Vergara didn't take the start. As always, though, Connery, even though we have the pit stops, this IMSA series always provides action right up to the checkered flag, and we saw it there.
That was absolutely amazing, and I'm just trying to find the exact time. So yes, Marceno actually finished that race in 46 minutes 22 seconds and flat, that is. And our official race distance is 45 minutes. So that is 1 minute 22 seconds over the official time. And a lap here around here for the prototype cars is about 1 minute 21 seconds. So that must have been a second or so
over the clock,
leeway, yeah.
No, we've had it before in other series where if you cross the line with about 2 seconds or so to spare, iRacing does let you go for another lap. I think it's about the time where the white flag's given. So yeah, that's what happened there, and it provided some uncertainty for some of the drivers there, and yeah, provided a crazy finish there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have never seen anything like that. The two GT3 leaders running out in the last couple of corners in the lap. That was absolutely amazing and just crazy finish.
Well, we've got plenty more of action to come here on Apex Racing TV later today. We have got the Club Series. It's heading to Bathurst, and it's going to be brilliant. Two 20-minute races there. Myself and Paul Smith will be for that action. Coverage was also available on iRacing Live. And yeah, next week we've got the BSRTC on Thursday, Saturday the SRA GT3 Series, and of course the Road Pro Series heading to their first event of the season at the Interlagos circuit. Going to be plenty of great action there. Just trying to find where we are heading to next week in the IMSA Sportscar Series, but yeah, as well. And on Sunday we'll have the IMSA Sportscar Series at the next race meeting and the Club Series as well. Well, you'll be able to find. Oh, internet's playing up. Well, you'll be able to find out where the next race meeting of the IMSA Sportscar Series is on the iRacing website. In fact, actually, we've got enough time on it. I'll quickly look it up for you now. We're trying to stall as much as we can here. The next race meeting of the IMSA Sportscar Series will be at Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, Connery. So that's going to be interesting to see those Daytona prototypes there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if it's anything like this race at the end there, that should be absolutely an amazing one.
Well, be sure to join us next week at Nürburgring Strecker Circuit, and hopefully you can join us later for the Club Series. My thanks to Connery Maddock for being alongside me here today, and Samuli Kumo on the cameras. And yeah, we'll see you in a few hours for the Club Series. Good afternoon.